Hey everybody, Dan here from Academy 365. I recently published a video about how to build a Netflix SharePoint video experience, and in that demonstration I showed a custom search solution which replicated the Netflix search. A lot of people asked me if I could show them how I built that experience. That's what this video is all about. So I'm going to show you step by step exactly how I built that search experience so you can do the same. So with all that being said, let's get into it. So if you haven't seen the video, and if not, I'll put a link to it up here, and I'll also put a link in the description. If you've not seen it, this is what we're looking at here, okay? So we have the home page here, but what we're focusing on is what happens when we search for something. So if I come in here and I search for shark, I get directed automatically to a custom search page. And here is where I have my search results of the videos that match the search term. And I also have some categories in here, or refiners where I can refine by category. So that's great, that's what we're looking to build. By default, what you get is, and here we have another version of the site. So if we come in here, what we can do is we can search for shark again. And in this case, we get the out-of-the-box search experience, which, is not ideal, especially not for the example that we were going for. So what we want to do in this video is effectively build this search experience on the other site. So some prerequisites before we get stuck into this. One is going to be that unless you have access to the SharePoint Admin Center, you're not going to be able to do this, okay? There's a couple of things that need to be set up there first to enable you to build this on your site. So the first thing that you're going to need to do, and the thing that really is the secret sauce in this solution, is a set of custom web parts called the PnP Modern Search web parts. And these effectively are a set of search web parts that let you do a lot of cool things with search that you can't do out of the box. These web parts are well used and well known within the industry. They're well trusted. They're constantly being updated. So yeah, they're well maintained. So what you want to do anyway is you want to come here, and I'll put a link to this site in the description. You want to come to installation, and you'll see a link here for the GitHub repository, which is where you actually download the web parts. So when you follow that link, you come here and you'll see an SPPKG file. You want to click it and download it because we're going to use that to upload into SharePoint. So when you've done that, what you need to do is you need to come to the SharePoint Admin Center, and you get to that by coming to the waffle, and you'll see an admin link here if you have access to it. If you don't, like I said before, buy some coffees of someone that does and get them to do you a favor. So when someone gets access to the admin center, where you're going to want to go is you're going to want to come into more features, and over here where it says apps, you click open, and this is going to show you all the apps that have been installed on your tenant. And we'll see in here that I've actually already installed the Modern Search web parts because I had to do it to build the solution in the first place. So what you're going to want to do is come to upload, select the file that you just downloaded, upload it here. The installation is straightforward. There's a wizard that walks you through it, so I won't do it here because I'd have to uninstall it and reinstall it, but you can't go wrong, okay? Just follow everything, click OK till you get to the end. When you have installed the web parts and they're ready to go, what you'll find is that when you come to your site, you'll have a whole new set of web parts. So I'll just edit this page, right? And they'll be available to put on any page. So if I came in here and I type in PnP, you'll see I have these 4 web parts that come with that solution. So that's what you're aiming for. If you've just installed the app or the web parts, it might take a little bit of time for it to appear on your site, but it will eventually get there, so don't worry about that. So the first thing we need to do is we need to create a page that's going to act as our new search page, and we just create it as any other page, okay? So we're going to go to new, we're going to go to page, blank is absolutely fine, we'll click create page, and what we're going to do is we're going to call it search results. Take myself out of there, and we'll keep it nice and simple. So that's the first thing, right? Page is here, and now we want to start actually adding these web parts onto the page. So if we come back to here, we see this page is actually structured with a 1/3 left column layout. So we have our refiners in the small section and the results in the larger, wider section. So we'll do the exact same here. So we'll click in our section, we'll say edit, and we'll go 1/3 left. So that's great. So now what we want to do is we want to add in our new search web parts. So I'm going to say add new web part, I'm going to say PnP, and I'm going to go for PnP Search Results. Okay, so when we get this here, now we have to start the configuration. Now it's worth noting that these web parts are extremely powerful, and what makes them powerful is they have a lot of configuration options. They can be customized like you wouldn't believe. I'm only barely going to scratch the surface in this, but that's all I needed to do to build what I've demonstrated. So what we do is we say over here, as soon as you add it, it's going to ask you where do you want the results to come from. We want them to come from SharePoint. And then we come down here to our SharePoint search, the query text and query template. Now search terms in here, effectively what that means is when someone searches for something in a search box, that's what it's going to use to look for, you know, whatever it is you're looking for. So that's fine. Now in our solution, we're looking for items, or we're looking for content that lives on our site. So we want to scope this search down to only look in our site, and specifically the site pages library on our site where all of our video content is going to live. So what we'll do is we'll come down here and we'll say path, and then we just need to put in the URL of the site we're on in the site pages library. So I'm just going to grab the URL of my site, and just make sure after your site name include site pages, okay? And that's going to direct us to look at your site pages. So if we do that and we click apply, we see now that we get all the content that's in site pages. And just to show you that I'm not making this up and it's real, I'm going to come over here to the cog and I'm going to say site contents, and I'll go to site pages, and we can see here this is all the content we have in our site pages library, and that's reflected in here, okay? So what we need to do is we need to make some more changes to the scope of our search. And really why we need to do that is because we need to exclude certain things that we don't want coming back. So first thing we look at is we have this templates folder in here, okay? And we can see that that's represented here. This has a content type of folder, whereas all our pages have a content type of site page. So the first refinement we're going to make here is we're going to say only show me results from this area where the content type is site page. And the way we do that is we come in here and we say content type, and we will say site page, okay? And we click apply, and now we see that that folder is gone, okay? And everything else looks pretty good in here. What we'll also want to do, because it will eventually end up coming in here, is this page itself, search results. So we'll want to exclude that. So the way we exclude any additional pages, which are the content type of site page, is we say not, and then we say title, and then you just type in the title of any of these pages that you don't want to appear here. So you might have an about this site, or, you know, contact information for the site, a page which represents that, and you want this only to display the movie search results, so we can just exclude them from here. So I'm going to say search results, and again I'll click apply, and that'll just make sure that that search results page doesn't appear as a result in our search results, okay? So minor point, but it's kind of important, okay? Okay, so we've refined that down. So now we're in really good shape. The next thing we want to do is we want to make some amendments to these cards that appear here, like taking all of this random letters away from our video category tag. And we also want to put in the refiners web part over here. This is where the second prerequisite comes in from our SharePoint Admin Center. And that's where we need to effectively make it so that our video category metadata, so that search knows what it is and we can actually use it as a refiner. You'd think it would be simple and straightforward, but there's a step we have to do to make that happen. And basically what's happening is when we've created the video category column within our site pages library, so this video category in here, we need to be able to have that indexed by search, and we want to do what's called map it to a managed property. Don't let the terms confuse you or scare you. It's just something we have to do. So if you follow along, you won't go too far wrong. So the way we do that is we come back to our SharePoint Admin Center, and what we want to do is we want to come into the search option here. And when we come in here, we want to say manage search schema. And basically when we're in here, we have managed properties and crawled properties. And at a high level, crawled properties are basically whenever you create a metadata column within a site, SharePoint Search is going to see it and it's going to crawl it and it's going to index it, and then it'll appear in crawled properties, okay? Now crawled properties are great, but a limitation is they can't be used as filters and refiners unless we take action, and that action is mapping that crawled property to something called a managed property. And once we do that, that means everything's going to work nice and smooth, and we're going to be able to use our video categories as refiners. So what we'll do is we'll come into crawled properties, and if we come back to our site pages library, we have the metadata column called video category. So that's what we need to find, okay? So when we come into our crawled properties, I'm going to search for video category and click enter. And that's going to search through all of the crawled properties and find me that specific one. So we can see in here there's a couple of other ones. These are in here from when I built the solution before in the original demo, but we see here we've got one that's video category and which has a prefix of OWS_. So that's what we're looking for, okay? So that matches what we had in here. So when we find that, we're going to click it, and that's going to take us into it. And now we have an option to add a mapping. Okay, so I'm just going to click add a mapping. Now, please don't get too afraid with the next bit, and don't try and understand it too much. Basically, there's a set of preset mappings we can map these things to so that we can use them. And the term we're looking for to find one is called refinable string. Okay, so if I put it in, I say find, and it shows us all of these options in here that we can map this crawled property to. So I'm going to pick refinable string 5 because I know I've already mapped some of these other ones to other properties. So I'm going to say refinable string 5 and then OK. And once that's in here, I'm going to click OK over here on the right hand side. And now that's done its thing. So just to verify that we've done that, then if I come over to my managed properties, and again, if I type in refinable string and search, we'll see that I have refinable string 5 and we have it mapped to our video category. So it worked. Okay, so that's the most complicated part of this whole thing done. Okay, so if you made it through that, give yourself a pat on the back, and let's come back into something a bit more friendly looking. So we're coming back to our site here, and what I want to do is come back to our search results page. And now that we're here, we can wrap this thing up. So yeah, you've done the hard part already. So again, congratulations on getting this far. What we need to do now is we need to add the refiners to the page, and we need to do some configuration on the search results web part just to make it aware of our refinable string that we've just mapped to. So what we need to do is in the search results web part, we need to go to the settings yet again, and we need to come to a section called selected properties. So selected properties, what it really is basically we're telling this web part what information to pay attention to about each of the results. And that's the whole reason we did the managed property refinable string 5, because we needed a way for this web part to understand that each of these results has a category. And that was effectively it. So what we do in here in selected properties is if we expand this down, we'll see loads of options in here, and some of them are ticked and some of them aren't. I didn't really pay attention to any of them. I was really just looking for my refinable string 5 because that's all that we're using in this solution. So this is alphabetical order, which is good. So I'll come all the way down to my ORs, and in here I should see refinable string 5. Now, the keen-eyed among you might notice that the color of my t-shirt is different, and that's because I shot the first half of this video last night, and I had to stop then because SharePoint can take a while to catch on to itself. So it was only today that refinable string 5 actually appeared in this list. So that's why I'm wearing a different t-shirt, and also why you shouldn't panic or fret if you're not seeing it here straight away. Just give it a little bit of time and it will appear. So with all that being said, we're going to tick refinable string 5. So that's great. And now that we've done that, it means we can start to use the video category in various parts in these web parts. What we want to do is let's address this tag here because it looks horrendous. So over on this settings of the web part, come over to the very bottom and you'll see this is only page 1 of 4 of the settings. So like I said before, this can do a lot. We're only really scratching the surface. So on page 2 of 4, this is more about the layout of the result. And we can see here there's different templates. I'll let you explore them. We're going to stick with cards, right? Because that's what we want. And then here we can say manage card field. So if I click this, this basically shows me all the information it's displaying within the card. And we can see here this one tags, that's the one that looks terrible. So all we have to do in here is untick this, so it's going to ignore the out of the box version, and then we get a drop down. So we click the drop down, and just like before, we're looking for refinable string 5. Okay, again, why we created it. So I'm going to click that, I'm going to click save, and now we can see that all of them letters are gone, and we actually just see the category, which is what we want. So happy days, that's brilliant. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add in our filters. So to do that, come over here to this section and we're going to click the plus. And again, I'm going to type in PnP and I'm going to click filters. Now there's a bit of back and forward here, right? So I need to configure this web part. That means I'm going to say available connections, use data from these web parts. So this is kind of asking me, okay, I'll filter something, but what do you want me to filter? So we need to come in here and we need to say, I need you to filter on the search results web part. Simple. So we do that, and then we can go to customize filters. So we said we want to filter on these results, but we didn't say what we wanted to filter by, and that's where we go into customize filters. So when I come in here, I can add in whatever ones I want. We want category, so you can give it a name, give this a name, anything you want. So category fits, I think, in our scenario. Then this is where it's asking for, well, what field is it that you want me to filter on? And again, this is where our refinable string 5 comes into play. So we click this. So now it knows, okay, I'm going to look at the video category of all the results, and that's what I'm going to let you filter on. So that's perfect. Template is just how the filters appear on the left hand side. So checkbox is pretty good. You're probably not going to be able to see this, but there's actually a checkbox here and here. Expand by default, show count multi-values. Just with the theming, it's hard to see it, but they're there. So I'm going to say expanded by default, so all the filters are, the filters are available. I'm going to say show count, so I see how many there are, and we can allow multiple values if we want, but I'm just going to leave it like this for the moment. This is fine. So I'm going to say add and save. Again, don't panic, it says no available filter to display, and this is where the back and forward is. So we've told this web part you're looking over here, but we haven't told this web part you need to look over there. So we're going to come back to the search results web part, and we're going to come down to page 3 of 4, and what we're going to do is connect to a filters web part, and we're going to say on, and it's going to ask for what filters web part, and we're just going to say, well, the only one that we've got on the page. So when we do that, as if by magic, our filters appear here. So what we're going to do is republish this page. I'm going to take a breath, and then what we're going to do is test it. So I want to see all the award-winning movies. Okay, so I'm going to say award-winning, and then it's filtered. Everything is award-winning, and we can see the filter applied here, and I can X out of this, and it'll go back to normal. So we're 99% of the way there, right? So that's great. So we've covered how to get only the movie results in here that we want. We've created a managed property, and we've used that to add in the filters and slightly adjust the layout. But what we haven't done yet is connected this search box to this page, so that wherever I am on this site, if I put in a search, it's going to take me to this page rather than the out of the box search page. So the way we do that is, again, back into edit mode, and we're going to do this in 2 places. Okay, so the first thing we got to do, again, our search results web part, hit the pencil, and we're going over to page 3 of 4, and over here it's going to say use input query text. Okay, and we're going to say on. So that's basically us telling this web part, you know, we're going to send you a query. And in here we want to choose dynamic value because it's going to change depending on what someone searches for. Connect to source, and we're going to say page environment. And then in the next drop down, we're going to say query string because we want the query that someone enters to be what we're searching with. So that's what that is. Query string properties, choose query parameters. And then in query parameters properties, choose, now we only see mode here. We actually are looking for a different value than mode. It's not appearing here. So what we might need to do is the second part of this piece, and that's we need to tell this site itself to direct people to this page. So let's do that, and I think that's going to let us see the option we want in there. So let's just republish this page, and I'm going to grab the URL to this page. Okay, so I've just copied that there, and what we want to do is we want to go to the cog, click site information, and then click view all site settings. And then what we want to do in here is we want to go to search settings. So we click that, and then we can see an option here called which search results page should queries be sent to. And by default, it's just the default page that we get, right? But we can change that to point to our new page. So what we're going to do is we're going to untick this box, and that will tick this box. It's weird. But it says send queries to a custom results page URL. And in there, I'm going to type in, or paste in even, our page. And when I've done that, I'm going to click OK, and then we're going to go to home, and we're just going to put in any search in here. So I'll just do shark again. So that brought us to this page, but these web parts aren't looking at this yet, right? Because we didn't put in that last value. So what we're going to do is we're going to go edit again. I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to click the pencil, and I'm going to go back to the third page. And now under query parameter properties, I have Q and K. That's what I was looking for. So just pick Q, which is great. And then in the default value, if it's not ticked, tick it and just put in an asterisk. And that's so if anyone comes to this page, they just see all the results. Okay, and then that's pretty much it. That's kind of all we need to do, fingers crossed. So let's republish, and this all looks good. So the final test, moment of truth, we're going to come to home, pretend we're just someone who came here and is in the humor of looking at a movie about sharks. So let's type in shark, enter, we come back in, and we see that we've got the results for shark. So happy days, it works. It's important that on the actual video pages you provide description information so that search has, content to search within. that's going to just make your search results better. But yeah, that's it. So the good thing about this solution is, yeah, okay, we have a nicer layout for our search results and we can control the refiners, but we can also put in any other information on this page that we want, because it is just a SharePoint page at the end of the day. So if you want to put in some information, context, ask people to suggest movies or anything at all, you can put it in just with any of the other web parts that are already available to you. It's all there for you. So look, I know this was a heavy one. We've got into some of the weeds there in the SharePoint Admin Center. Hopefully you learned something and you can take this very simple demonstration of these search web parts and expand it further. Okay, so see ya.